Good morning. Today is January 20th. It is Thursday. So we're almost to Friday. Hope everyone's having a great week. Hopping on to talk about one of the words that we hear very frequently in the career consulting space, especially from healthcare professionals who've been in the field for a while. And that word is stuck. So they feel like they are at a point where they're not maybe completely unhappy, but they're also not totally passionate about what their day-to-day position looks like. And they want something to change, but they're not really sure how to make that happen, or if they're in the position in their life-wise to make a career shift. And it's just a really, for lack of a better word, it's a really crappy feeling and a really crappy place to be. Feeling stuck is just one of the burdens that we shouldn't have to bear. We should not be living for the weekend. I posted a statistic yesterday in our Facebook group that I actually saw on a TED Talk with Mel Robbins, and the chances of you being born when you were born, where you were born, as you, as your genetic composition, were 1 in 400 trillion. 1 in 400 trillion was the chance of you being born. So you cannot tell me that you weren't put here with some purpose, because your design was not by accident. The chances were 1 in 400 trillion. So you are here for a reason, to live a purpose, to live authentically, and not to live for the weekend and not to feel stuck. So let's talk about how to get unstuck. The first thing you need to do to get unstuck is look back over the course of your career and determine how you got to the point that you're at. So what conditioned you? Maybe in high school, maybe some parental guidance, maybe a career counselor. Maybe you just chose a random major in college that sounded fun, or you wanted to help people, so you thought going into healthcare was the route to go. A lot of us make career decisions at a very young age that kind of put us on track for the rest of our life. I went to college and made career decisions at 17. At 17, did I really know what I wanted to do at 30, at 40, at 50? No, I had no idea. But I had been conditioned throughout my life that you go to college, you pick a stable career path, and you focus on that, and that's what you do. You go to work, you make money, you raise babies, you get married. You all know what I'm talking about. We've all experienced these conditional belief systems since the time we were children. So if you're feeling stuck in your current position, you're not really sure what to do next, I want you to actually, it seems kind of counterintuitive, but I want you to look backwards and look at the trajectory that got you to where you are today. Focus on that. And then as you're expanding upon your previous roles, I want you to start to break them apart, do an autopsy of sorts. What you liked, what you didn't like. Because even positions that we don't love, or managers that we don't love, or poor leaderships in positions, it teaches us something. It gives us some sort of clarity, even if it's just determining what we don't want. So look over your career history and just look at each position individually and pick apart what you liked, what you didn't like. Focus on what you didn't like, and that's what you do not want to repeat. Focus on what you did like, and those are the things you want to pull from either your current position or your next position. So that's the first thing you need to do to get unstuck. Look back, figure out how you got to where you are, the path that you chose, and what you liked and what you didn't like. I also want you to consider your life roles. You might have very different life roles than you did when you initially began your career. When I began my career, I was 23. I was not in a serious relationship. I, was very focused on salary and stability. And now I'm 35 and things look very different for me. I have 2 young children who are in school full time. We're in a pandemic where their school could go virtual any day, or we could be quarantined. My life roles look very different. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter. You might be a caregiver to an elderly parent. You might have a child with special needs that requires a lot of your attention. So when we talk about creating a life, not just a career, we're talking about all the roles that encompass you outside of your career and making sure that you design a career that fits those roles. Because if you do not take those things into consideration, that's when you feel stuck, that's when you feel tired and overwhelmed and burnt out. And when you're burnt out, you can actually mimic a lot of the same feelings and emotions that you get when you're depressed. So anything that we can do to prevent burnout and be really honest with ourselves, what we need out of our life and career, is ideal. So if you're feeling stuck and you're on the brink of unhappiness or burnout, it's time to really assess where you are and what your next step should be and start laying the foundational blocks or steps to get you where you want to go. So what I recommend doing is peering into your future 5 years, 10 years down the line, looking at your life roles in that time frame, and then taking into consideration what you want your life to look like. So in 10 years' time, my kids are going to be almost out of high school. I might have more time to myself. So maybe going into a full-time position would be more ideal at that stage in my life. So if I know that now, what can I do currently to make sure that all of my skills and experience are aligned with my long-term goals? I can kind of reverse engineer where I want to be and start focusing on that. Even though it's very far in the future, if I have a clear picture of where I want to go, I can design the steps to get there. So start thinking about those things, and it doesn't have to be 10 years, it can be 5 years, it can be 1 year, it can be 6 months, however far out you can project and get a really clear picture of what you want your life to look like is going to give you information on what to do next and give you some direction. A lot of times we don't pause and reflect. We just know we're unhappy and that we're in a hamster wheel doing the same thing over and over and over again every single day. So take some time, reflect on what you like about your career, what you don't like about your career, and how it fits into the other roles. As clinicians, when we are rehabbing our clients, we do this all the time. We say, well, what are your life roles? What does your day-to-day look like? How can we create patterns, routines, and behaviors that will get you to where you need to go? It's the same thing in our own lives, yet we don't do it for ourselves. So if you get anything from this video, I want you to pause and reflect on where you are and where you want to be and where you came from, because that's going to help give you some clarity and direction and help you come up with goals for your future. Again, we're talking about creating a life, not living for the weekend, not repeating the same day over and over and over again, because that's not what we were put here to do. So the other thing you need to take into account when you're planning your future is anticipating the struggles. So what roadblocks or barriers might pop up in your trajectory that you might need to overcome? This could be maybe you haven't had children and you want to have children. Not that children are a barrier, but they definitely impact your life roles and what you can and can't do in a career, possibly. So anticipate those things so that when they do come up, you have a clear picture in your head of how to either go around them or overcome them or live in that space for a little bit and then come back to your career path. And all of those things are okay. The other thing I see happening a lot is that we get this idea that because we have this title, I'm an RN, I'm an OT, I'm an SLP, I'm a PT, this is all I can do, this is where my skill set lies. That's not true. Because you picked a major when you were 18 and you stuck with it, doesn't mean that's what you have to commit to for the rest of your life. And if you need somebody to give you permission to step outside that box, then here I am giving you permission. If you are not happy with the career you chose 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, yesterday, that's okay. Acknowledge that. Stop pushing it down. Acknowledge it. I know there's a lot of shame that can be associated with that because we did work really hard for these letters behind our name. But if you're not happy, you're not happy. And you have to acknowledge that because it's going to stay inside of you no matter what you do. And it's going to appear in different ways. It's going to appear as exhaustion. It's going to appear as depression. It's going to appear as burnout. So if you're unhappy in your career, I want you to start thinking about all the other areas of your life that it's impacting, because it is. If you're miserable on Sunday night because you don't want to go to work Monday morning, That's impacting who you are at home. That's impacting who you are with your family. That's impacting your mental health. It might be impacting your sleep if you can't fall asleep because you're just so stressed about having to wake up at 6 a.m. with the alarm to get ready to go to work to a job that you don't want to be at. It's impacting every area of your life. So the first thing is just reflect on what's working, what's not working, and then come up with the next step. And if you can't look 10 steps ahead, that's all right. Just look for the next step and then take the next step and the next step after that. And as you start doing these things, opportunities will present themselves. But you have to be in alignment with those things. You have to be open to those things. Because if you're closed off and you're just so focused on doing what you need to do to get through the day, you're going to miss out on these opportunities and chances that are all around us. So start to get real and start to take inventory of your day, what you like, what you don't like, and what you want to do next. There's a famous quote by Wayne Dyer that I like to say to myself sometimes, and it's, don't die with your music still in you. Everybody has a passion, something that they love to do, a gift that they can share with the world. Don't die with it still inside. You're only here for a short time. So get your mindset right, get clear on what you want, what you don't want, and then create a life. Don't let the life control you. You create the life. You are an intentional creator. So I just wanted to pop in and talk about getting unstuck. And if you are working towards your next position, your next goal, your next job, join us this weekend. We are running a boot camp on Saturday and Sunday for resume and LinkedIn. We're going to talk about all of these things, how to get clear on our next steps and what tools we need in our tool bench or our tool belt to make our next goal possible and achievable. I will post the link in the comments, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments too, and I will make sure I answer them. And the other question I want you to ask yourself before I end is your current position in alignment with where you want to be long term? And if it's not, then you, again, need to start laying those foundational bricks to get you to the next step in your journey. All right, happy Thursday, everybody. Have a great day.